humble fellow CU members.
I'm gonna tag the guy who keeps saying when marketing.
Please do. Anyone
Hello,
that has given
Mr.
marketing shit
Wen.
for the last, I don't know, since the start of this year should be here because one, they're going to regret it, and two, I have some homework for them. So
Oh, here we go.
it's going to be more impactful if people hear it live.
Absolutely. All right, let's wait for the room to fill up a little before starting.
Some good names showing up in here.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so glad this leaderboard ended. For me, that the last 2 days was just like, oh, like, I'd oscillate between like 15th place and 16th place, like right on the boundary where the rewards scale up. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm not going to make it. And then managed to get in top 15 on both leaderboards. This is tug of war, that is. So pretty happy with that. Hello, Time Traveler, Island Girl, Popcorn, Lemonade, PR King, Fluffy, Zero, Dipbeak, Life Rules, Crypto Hour, Gabe, all good to see you guys here. Got some real exciting shit to share with you all today. Hope you like the good deck I've put together. It's more of talking points than a deck, but yeah, I'm someone that just prefers to have talking points, but then I just prefer to explain it. It's a bit more dynamic. Who wants to sit down and read off a script?
All right. Yeah, okay, we're good to start. Good evening and good morning, Unicorn fam. Welcome to our marketing town hall number 2. Sagration is chugging along nicely with a Rainbow Bridge, staking portal, and liquidity bootstrapping event leaderboard up and operational. Shadow coins have begun to trek to Zai. So what's next? When marketing? These questions will be answered in this town hall. We're here with Mitch, our crypto unicorns magic marketing man, master strategist, leader of the in-game LG tribe, and hardcore player of the game. Woo! Take it away, Mitch. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for the intro, Sparkly. It's always great to hear your lively intros. Good to see everyone here as well. I'm very excited to do this marketing town hall / AMA. There will be certainly a time for AMA at the end. But yeah, I'm very keen to show you guys what I've been working on for the last few months. Obviously, it's kind of, I wouldn't say I've been radio silent from the marketing perspective. Certainly not radio silent in Discord, but yeah, it's just a lot of the things have only started to come together, and I kind of wanted to wait until everything had been locked in because I don't want to go out and say, hey, we've done it, and it turns out it wasn't fully secured yet. So everything I'm showing you guys today has been secured. It's locked in. We are good to go. But yeah, let's just start off by saying market fucking pumped overnight. Well, overnight for me, it's always good to wake up. I think it was the CPI news that came out of the States. So it's good, man. It's good to wake up. I'll check my phone in the morning, half asleep as I'm getting out of bed. Yeah, check Coin Market Cap. And I'm like, oh, Bitcoin's up 7%. Fuck yeah. And I'm jumping out of bed like, all right, coffee time. Let's go. So yeah, it's just it's always good to do these sort of things when the market's good. But yeah, guys, look, let's get into it. I've got a lot of content to get through today. And then from there, like I said at the end, I will do an AMA. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to come up, have a chat, anything about marketing, happy to do what I can. And then I'll also be making a special announcement closer to the end of the slides. So hang in there. You have a reason to stick around. Don't miss out. It's all better when it's live. So let's get started. So CU migration marketing plan. So this migration is huge for us. It gives us a very strong narrative. In fact, there's 3 core marketing narratives that we're going to be pushing. And really, when I think about it, we haven't really had strong narratives in the past. Like the narratives that we have had are like, oh yeah, cool, we've got a new game launch coming out, whether it was jousting or whether it was Rainbow Rumble, but it wasn't something that the overall market was really interested in. This is something that's going to interest anyone that wants to make money, really and frankly, and anyone that believes in Web3 gaming. So what are the 3 core marketing narratives? Well, the first is obviously a token migration and the staking with it. Now, one of the biggest benefits this will have for us is that, we have this clean, fresh chart. And I don't know about you, but a lot of the times when I'm looking to invest in a new project, I would look at that chart and I'll be like, well, no, like, look at all this past history, look how high it was. It would give me an element of doubt. And so now that we have this clean chart on the other side of this horrendous bear market, And on the precipice of all these exciting, global events and agendas coming up, it makes me feel good that we have this position to long term pump the shit out of CU. And really, that's what we're all here, right? We all want to see CU go to the fucking moon. I want to see CU go to the fucking moon. I want everyone driving around in Lambos. That's what I want to see. If that's something you value, I'd probably get something other than a Lambo, but hey, each to their own. So that's the first agenda. Second is the migration to a new chain, obviously Xi. We know this has been a narrative for explosive growth for other projects in the past. So that's obviously very exciting to see. But apart from just a narrative, this is good because we're going to save money on gas. I'm probably spending, like $100 on Matic a month, and it was very frustrating to keep having to top that up and, deal with all the RPC issues. So this ultimately is going to provide a solution to the quality of life and the experience of new players, which I think is very important because we need to do as much as we can to retain our existing users, but also attract new users. And obviously, better tech is going to help us do that. And then the last big narrative is the engaged airdrop and play to airdrop campaign. So that engaged airdrop is something new that's coming up. I don't believe you guys may have heard about that yet, so there's a bit of alpha for you there. But obviously, the key event here is the play to airdrop campaign, and I will have an official announcement around that come the end of this presentation. So stick around; we'll get through it quickly. Like I said, I don't want to drag too long on all this sort of stuff. I prefer to take questions and get into the more dynamic flow of this town hall. So now that we have all these narratives, what are the ways we plan to spread this messaging, right? Because we can have these powerful narratives, but if people don't know what the fuck they are, then why are we here? So how do we plan to get this messaging out? Well, the first is we are going hard on KOLs. And I'm actually going to introduce you to who they are in the next slide. So hang in there. Next is strategic partnerships. We also have some PR and media planned. And then, of course, we're going to be going very hard on socials, which is amplified through our Engage to Airdrop campaign as well. So, in fact, our Engage to Airdrop campaign kind of accelerates everything happening here. So, again, more information around that will come soon. So, who are our KOLs? Are you guys ready? This is some of our KOLs. So get fucking excited. It's like picking your favorite character off a Street Fighter game or something. I'm happy with this lineup, guys. I'm excited. We've got some big names up here. One thing I'll point out as well is that these KOLs, this is just not oh yeah, I'm posting about CU one day and I'm done. No, these are guys that are going to be supporting us for months, right? We have ongoing support, ongoing content plan rolled out. I sat down and did a custom schedule for every single person. I said, all right, guys, based on our key announcements, here's when I want you to be active, and here is the stuff I want you to look out for. Here are the narratives. Please, don't plagiarize the shit I'm giving you, but make it spice it up in the way you would. So yeah, these guys largely will kick off from next week, and the week after, that's kind of the key date. And yeah, super excited to get some of these guys out there. I think one of my biggest goals is to just turn this from a transactional arrangement into cool. Well, how can these guys support us long term, right? And so I think that's one thing that we haven't really had at CU. It's a strong, consistent KOL presence who just don't produce content for professional purpose, but actually produce content because they enjoy the game and they want to stick around, right? This is the best way for us to really reach into the audiences these guys have. It doesn't make sense that we only have these one-off activations and we get a little bit of awareness. What we need is ongoing and consistent presence. So I'm working with these guys to build up these relationships, to have that ongoing presence, because again, this is how we use their audiences to we use these narratives to get in front of their audiences, and ultimately if our narratives are strong enough, people are going to be like, well, this seems like a no-brainer, and if it's a no-brainer, then people take action. All right, so this is the idea we need to convince people of, which we're not bullshitting them. This is fucking true. CU is great. This is why we're all here, right? This is why I'm here. I love this project, I love the team, and I love the future we have ahead of us. So lots of exciting KOLs. By the way, I can't see Discord comments because I'm full screen mode at the moment, clicking through the slides. So if you guys are leaving comments, I will go through and read them once all this is done and reply where I can. Next slide. Some of our partners. So yeah, here are some of the other Web3 projects we're partnering with. So Obviously, that first one should be Arbitrum. It's got Xi twice. So Arbitrum, Xi, Neo Tokyo, which is a fucking huge one. I was very excited to lock something down with those guys. Yes, we are doing a collab with Neo Tokyo. More information coming around that soon. Galaxy, Portal, Wolvesdale, Game 7, Loot Rush, Torochi. These partnerships will be activating in different forms. Some will be drops, some will be different collabs. Yeah, we have all of different ideas in mind. I'm not going to go into all the details, but obviously we'll be utilizing these partner projects to again push these narratives. Right, this is what we want. We want people coming in to see you and thinking, "Wow, I can just see myself doing really well with this project." Right, and again with how the rest of this year is unfolding, it's looking exciting, guys. I'm super hyped. So again, they're our partners. More to come. So, what are the objectives of marketing and goals? Quickly go over them now. So, firstly, we want to drive massive awareness to the CU ecosystem, right? So, for me, this is kind of the top of funnel stuff. How are we getting just eyeballs on those touch points? Oh, yeah, cool. What is Crypto Unicorns? What is CU Token? What does Crypto Unicorns have to offer? This is the first step. So we want to obviously uh, reach as much as possible, and so hence why we're going through multiple marketing channels. But of course, we also want to reach the right people, right? Web3 users who specifically can contribute the most to our ecosystem. Obviously, we want to see an increase in daily active wallets, weekly active wallets, and monthly active wallets across all areas of the ecosystem. This will all start to kick up towards the end of this month. Onboard KOLs that produce all organic content about us. I mentioned this before. Again, we need people creating consistent content around us because there is value here, and there is a lot of value. Someone can come on and easily talk about, their create Web3 gaming content with all the loops we have, and with what else we have coming. Obviously, we want to increase our CU token price because our CU token price is our best form of marketing. If CU goes to $1, if CU goes to $5, if CU goes to $10, right? This is automatically like a viral catalyst for people to jump in. Why? Because it becomes a no-brainer. I can easily go and make money, right? And this is where the price of assets go through the roof, because when the ROI becomes clear, when people's intention to earn becomes achievable and realistic, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, well, I'm in. And so again, people, this is where they forgo all the doubt in their mind and ape into shit. And once they get started, this is where our system has been designed to really extend and pump up the value of that customer. And this is ultimately what Crypto Unicorns, I would argue, does better than any other project. Cool. So yeah, that's the last point: raising asset floor price, namely unicorns, land, and shadow coins. Oh, geez, what's that? Don't know how that got there. In the famous words of Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, how'd that get in there? Hope you guys are paying attention. Don't know what the fuck that means though, so my bad. So why should you be bullish? I wanted to sit down and, when I wrote this and think about, okay, why am I excited for crypto unicorns? And I'm sure a lot of you guys see eye to eye in this, but I kind of wanted to give you my perspective on this. So we obviously have a massive reduction in CO emissions coming to the game, which is good because the rewards will be increased, right? So us obviously having all this Xi grant means that we can sustain rewards, but reduce the amount of CU emissions. And for me, this is economics 101, right? If you are going to reduce the supply of something and you're going to increase the demand of something, the price is more likely to go up, right? Largely what we value in the world is based on how easy or difficult it is to find versus how well it can be used or what sort of utility. And so the idea is that with CU getting harder to get, but rewards going up because you're getting rewards in other tokens, well, this just adds more buy pressure to CU, right? And if you want to earn more, well, guess what? You need to own more CU. And so we're working on creative ways to encourage people to purchase CU with the intention that it is only just going to drive up the token. So that's the first one. Obviously, another reason is just our future with Xi and Arbitrum, very exciting. to be on these chains and to be affiliated with them, to do partnerships. I don't need to go into that. We're all aware why this is probably one of the best decisions we could have made in terms of a chain to migrate to. Obviously, our runway extension due to the Xi grant has helped us a lot. That's another big reason to be bullish. That gets better as token price goes up, obviously. The team focusing on reducing new and old player friction and user experiences. Ever since I came on board Crypto Unicorns in my current um, position a year ago, it's kind of been like something that's close to my heart because I play this game like an hour to 2 hours a day. Like I'm here every day. I'm pretty sure I'm the biggest asset owner in LG in terms of NFTs and unicorns and activity. And so for me, I want to ensure that I'm working with the team to say, hey guys, like, no, you guys don't get it. Like, here is what you need to know. Here's what us as the community, here's what us as the players are feeling, right? And so, making sure that the experience is improved, new player experiences are improved. Shadowcorn owners are actually getting the passive solution that we've been wanting, right? Like, you should be bullish on Shadowcorns. It's going to be so obvious in 3 months, guys. If you don't own a Shadowcorn, it's going to be so obvious in 3 months that you should have made that play. And I want to make you regret it. That's my job here. I want to make you hardcore regret not owning more Shadowcorns. So leave that one with me. I'm going to do my best to take you on a guilt trip as the next few months progress. But yeah, ultimately, we need to make this game feel more like a game and less of manual labor, with the intention that that is going to attract more people who are going to have fun and earn some sweet rewards in the process. Second, lastly, is a strong focus on building KOLs. This is a big priority for me. I'm just going to keep smashing out on these relationships, get as many people as we can involved in creating content around us long term. For me, I think if we can continue to do this, then as we add more content to this, it's just going to be easier for us to grow and scale. And obviously, the last reason I'm bullish is that we're in an exciting part of history. Where we're coming up towards the mid-year mark, and if we look at the history of market activity around October, we always seem to see markets perform well. Top that off with the 2024 presidential elections, which is very exciting because what does every candidate come out and do and say they're going to do? Oh yeah, we're going to add more money and we're going to cut your taxes and life's going to be better if you vote for us, right? Whether that happens or not is highly debatable, but what you can't deny is that people have hope. People have faith there is going to be change. And so therefore they're likely to start to make decisions that are bullish for markets, right? And then of course Roaring Kitty returned, that's a positive sign as well. So guys, a lot of reasons to be excited and bullish. Just a few of them there that I was grateful to share. Cool. Almost there. And then we can take questions. So just some other objectives I'm working on at the moment. So obviously continuing to work with the team to improve player experiences with our product everywhere, making Shadowcorns more passive, solving the performance and lag issues. This is actually, I can tell you now, a big priority for the team. We're looking to have some updates around that very, very soon, but we're aware of it. We're aware of the extent of it, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that that performance issue is completely eliminated. Next is a free-to-play option. We're currently looking and exploring ways around that. That's still being explored. We don't have any absolute solutions at the moment, but we're aware of it, right? Because at the end of the day, a free-to-play experience is easier to onboard someone into than a paid experience. So what does that step look like? We're still working on it, but ultimately, if anyone has any suggestions, we're all open as we're still currently looking at solving the problem ourselves. And then lastly is just securing additional partnerships and long-term support. Cool. Special announcement, guys. You ready? Drum roll. Cool. So 28th of May. This date was roughly mentioned in the last town hall with Aaron and Andrew. But 28th of May is the date. Crypto Unicorns will go down for migration. It is the date that many special announcements will be made on the day, including an official announcement around the Play to Airdrop campaign and some more information around that. And yeah, some other big ones in there, but I'm not going to say anything just yet. There may have been a hint or two that somehow got into this presentation. My bad. I just, what can I say? Got ahead of myself. But yeah, 28th, that's only 2 weeks away, so get excited. And keep in mind, guys, while the game's down, like, there's gonna be no emissions coming out of the game essentially. So it's a very exciting period in time. And on top of that, having all the KOLs and marketing activate around that, I'm very excited to see what it's going to mean for our tokens. So yeah, pencil that date in if you hadn't already. Now, I do have a community request that I do want to mention that's in relation to everything we have coming up. And just kind of highlight the importance of this because I think sometimes we can forget it or underestimate the value of it. And that is that over the next month and a half, 2 months, we're going to have a lot of new people coming into our Discord, a lot of new eyeballs. And what is very important is that we are doing everything we can as team members, as community members, to support people into feeling like this is the best project they could possibly invest in. Now, I get there's been times where you haven't been able to say that or you've been unsure of that, but now you can. Now you can say that. We have all these narratives, we have all these rewards coming to the game. So, how I see it is that everyone here, everyone in our Discord, everyone who plays this game is now part of Team LG. And as a member of Team LG, it is your responsibility to ensure that you can do whatever you can to help someone who is in our Discord to make them see the value, give them the confidence. Because let's be honest, you come into a project for the first time, most people have had bad experiences, most people have lost money, they're going to have doubts in their head. Now, the fact we are all still here, the fact we still have a team working on this project, the fact we still have a live community means we are in the top 1% of projects that has survived and thrived through all of that, right? So that's enough right there. That's enough to say, you know what, someone should come in because we're already in that top 1% that didn't rug, that's still around, that's still building and still working on growing, right? How many projects overall from, years ago are still doing that? So we're already in this rare situation. And so anyone that comes in, give them hope, give them support. Just a quick story I'll share with you guys. I did have someone that recently was in Discord and they were asking about purchasing assets. And, I made them some offers and their response was, oh, well, look, I don't know if that's worth it. It just doesn't seem, I'm a bit unsure. And so after explaining to this person, uh, what my earnings were from crypto unicorns, I was like, yeah, but dude, like, here's what I'm earning. And like, yeah, like it took me this long, but here's here's the amount of tokens I'm earning per week. Here's the value of my assets. Here's how I've been able to grow the account. It was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And then, funnily enough, I went and saw this person, purchasing quads and multiple mythic lands and then mythic shadow corns, other shadow corns, all this sort of stuff simply because I eliminated that person's doubt, had the conversation, put the time in, right, to give this person a little bit of certainty and faith in our product, right? And the thing is, if we all do that, if we all are aligned to that goal, it just means that when we start to see these masses coming in, they're going to feel more at ease that this is the project worth getting behind, right? And ultimately, this benefits you guys, okay? Anyone that holds existing assets, this is where there's going to pay huge dividends for you, as well as for anyone new coming in at the moment. So, yeah, guys, any questions around that? Feel free to DM me. Happy to support you. Happy to give you advice. I used to sell high ticket masterminds in the past, so I can give you any advice around talking to people and all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, this is all for good intentions. We're not trying to mislead people. Like, again, we are one of the best played earn games out there. I feel we need to do a better job at conveying that to other people. So again, reach out if you have any questions around that with me. But yeah, in saying that, also minimize, FUD. Ultimately, there's always a reason to be unhappy if you choose to look for it. But we all have a negativity bias. So switch that around. Look at all the reasons why we're still here. Look at the reasons why money's still flowing in, and focus on that, right? Because that is going to make a big difference. Thoughts are reality. So thank you. Thank you for hearing that one out. Barkley, it's now Q&A time. Let's get some questions out here. Happy to have anyone come up and have a chat as well. Yeah.
All
Presentation
right, love
over.
to hear it. Thank you so much, Mitch. That was a lot to take in, but in a good way. So, everybody who was listening, May 28th is the date. This is not a drill chat. This is not a hallucination. This is the real life. And to add to what he said, party in general, business and serious, y'all, we created that channel for a reason. If you want to ask your questions, please ask them here. I just linked it in general and in our town hall chat. And for those who want to speak, please raise your hand. There we go. There's Goliath rules. Come on in, please.
Hey, I like to talk.
Hey, welcome to the
How y'all
show.
doing?
Hey.
So did anybody see basically the news eyesight? We are listed on the top of their games that were listed in there. So I don't know if you got any comments on that, Mitch, but that's pretty exciting.
No, I hadn't seen that yet. So I know we hadn't been updated for a while and we weren't on there. But if it has been updated, that's great news to me.
It
So
just got updated today, and they just put out an announcement in that. And so it was updated at like, I don't know, like 5 hours ago in that. So news, there you go. So new
awesome.
news.
There we
And
go.
yeah,
Another
we're
thanks for
there you
sharing.
go.
Another marketing win.
Exactly. So let me ask you so when you here's the question that I just keep having that goes in my brain. And I know I talked to Time Traveler about this,
Yeah.
but what does passive mean to you in terms of what Shadow Corns is? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they talk about passive, but I mean, I'm an old school gamer. Everybody throws this passive term out, and to me, it's just gibberish. So I'd like to hear your take on what passive actually means.
Yeah. So for me and how I'm pitching this to the team is that passive for me is minimal effort required, right? And this is why we invested in shadow coins in the first place, is because they were pitched as something you could hold. Yes, they're a premium price. Yes, they're more expensive, but as a result of them being more expensive, they are a play that would guarantee you less effort than owning land in unicorn and working that land. Now, I'll give you an example of an idea that I pitched to the community a few times and I'd like to see. But as you know, if you hold shadow coins and if you hold many shadow coins, you have to go on every day, and every day you've got to click through your shadow corns, and obviously the more you have, the harder it is. You've got to
Hmm.
restake them, either your husk or your ingredients, and then obviously you got to go proceed to do the minions. Now, for me, the minions weren't exactly the bad thing, but what was the annoying thing is having to do this every day. Now, a simple solution to that is why not switch it from a daily uh, storage husk, right? So you can only have enough husks roughly for a day, unless you obviously hold a rare or a mythic. But even then, like, generally a day or two, that's full. Why not simply 7x the storage, right? If you
Hmm.
7x the storage of the husk, then you're reducing clicks by a factor of 7 because you don't have to go on every day. But at the same time, it gives the option for someone to go on every day if they want
Yeah,
to. Because if you think about how the daily rewards are paid out, it's based on how many minions you mint. It might create this weird dynamic where people want to be strategic around when they mint their minions because they want a higher share of the rewards. But that's the idea. You have a choice. You can choose a daily frequency, or you can choose a weekly. Now, this is not final yet. I've only pitched it to the team. I've floated the idea out there, but this gives you an idea of some of the directions that I'm wanting to work with the team to support Shadowforge, Twilight Tactics. It's just
yeah,
how can we just make this an overall more passive experience? Again, passive to me is reducing the amount of labor required, because if you've paid a premium for an asset, the reason you paid the premium is to save on time.
sure. Yeah, I mean, even if you did 3x, right? I mean, I mean, 7x sounds great, right? But even if you did 3x, the thing that I find I just constantly disappoint myself, which is basically I um I essentially miss the time frame, and then essentially I'm trying to, catch it at the right time in terms of when I need to click. But then I'm losing out on husks because I just don't hit the time frame in terms of when I'm supposed to click. If you did at least 2x or 3x, then realistically, then we would actually have an opportunity to always at least hit the mark where you're not missing out. Because especially if you pay as a premium, you know, you sort of want to at least hit the minimum level. And I think I think at least a small change like that definitely would be an improvement of course. So
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
the other
Well, one thing
the
I
other
can tell you
question
now is
that
like obviously
yeah, go ahead.
the team's priorities were shifted to migration support. So once that's all out of the way, that's where yeah, Shadowcorn related activity are a priority for us. So yeah, the good thing is that I get to play. I've been saying to the team like, hey, I'd love to play test this sort of stuff sooner rather than later. Like, get me involved because I will give you my direct feedback. Right, I have 14 Shadowcorns, I think. And so
Hmm.
having to do that every day, deal with RPC issues at the same time, which is like, always happens around halfway through. I'm running into RPC issues and failed
Yep.
transactions and all that nonsense. I'm just like, oh, this is like arduous. So yeah, like I kind of vent that frustration out to the team, and then the team's just like, all right, cool. Well, that's fine. We can make plans to change that. So um, yeah, but like at the end of the day, it just means more people will buy shadow coins. I know people at the moment who want to buy more shadow coins, but the barrier of labor is preventing them from buying more, right? And for me,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
you should never be guilted into buying more, spending money in any way.
Yeah. The other question that I have related to shadow corns is with minions. I mean, we all kind of dream about the dream of like seeing little minions run across the field and maybe like mess up somebody's farm. Do you think that maybe, I mean, I'm not saying now, and I'm not saying in 3 months, but maybe that's something that could be worked into the process. It'd be kind of cool. So
Yeah, it's still early talk. Like I would love to see shadow pawns and minions in the core game somehow. I was working on some concepts of a tower defense, a few months back. Yeah, I think tower defense and shadowcorns versus unicorns would be a perfect combination where you have to fight off against waves of minions, right? Because it's just for me, I think they would just look wonderful. So yeah, like the thing is that there will be a lot of future plans and utility, and hopefully gameplay integration into the core game featuring shadow corns. I'd love to see it. So yeah, it just building these products does take time. So yeah, I just need to make sure that things are prioritized in a manner which is what's most important to obviously less important.
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'll hand it off to the next person, but thanks for having me up and have yourself a great night.
Same to you. Thanks for coming up, Goliath.
All right, thank you so much for coming up, Goliath. Really appreciate your questions. Let's see, we have an anonymous question that came in during that conversation. Let's see. Will KOL start marketing when the game is live and the game is there to show people so other people can try it?
Yes. So the marketing obviously commences around the end of this month. This is when the KOLs are activated. And then these guys are going to continue to support us for around 2 months. So 1 month prior and 1 month after, which is a good way to split it. So there will be a first major activation at the end of this month, and then on the 28th, to be frank, and then the second one will take place around the mid June, I would say. Or whenever the migration is complete. So mid to end June is the current date we're looking at. So Sagarian KOL stands for Key Opinion Leader. It's just a fancy word for influencer, Web3 influencer. So yeah. That's when the second round will take place. But obviously, I've staggered the content because the first activation's obviously going to be in promoting the narratives, right? So, and we've given them all this recorded existing content to work with, so they'll still have gameplay content. But then come the second date, the second activation, they can obviously get into the game, play the game, and I've worked with each one to ensure they have everything they need to be able to do that. So again, I want them to play the game. This thing, I want them to come in. I want them to be regular. I want them creating content, outside of this venture. And I think we can do that when people see, this new experience on Zai, all the hype and all the buzz. It's going to be good viewership for them as well. And I think ultimately that's how you convince someone to your side, or, your perspective or your product is you have to ensure that they're getting value out of it too. And what does value look like for them? Well, value looks like content, building audience and building audiences, right? So the two go hand in hand. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, DJ has a follow-up question. This DJ's Revenge. It's the beginning. What is the call to action of having marketing without the game being live at the end of this month?
So the call to action is there's a few. Well, so this goes into the narratives. So this is hyping up for the play to airdrop campaign, right? This is make sure you're joining and following Crypto Unicorns on socials. Make sure you're going into the Discord. So most of the call to actions are going to be engagements like social media based, because obviously the game's not going to be live. But still, again, this is kind of where we have that awareness phase. Like, hey guys, the airdrop's coming. It's important that we have a hype phase, because I think we can all agree that hype in this space tends to perform and sell better than practicality, right? And the sucky thing is that if you're a project that has a lot of practicality and you've delivered a lot of features, you will be outmatched by someone who's just consistently talked hype and done nothing but that. So it's very counterintuitive, especially if you have someone that's run businesses in the past and you're all about providing value. But in a way, it's kind of not, because that's what marketing is, right? It's you're essentially influencing someone's perception of value. It's not real. So you create these narratives and it allows people to go to fantasy land. And no product will ever compete with someone in fantasy land. Like, this is why game trailers are always so damn good. But a lot of the time you play the game, it's just like, yeah, it got me hyped, but I'm not feeling it now. Mainly games these days. There's a lot of games, especially the 2000s to 2010 era, like, Halo trailers and all that sort of stuff would get me so hyped. I'd play the game like, oh my God, this is better than the trailer. So, yeah, we have to get better at working with hype. So hope that answers the question. We have 1 month to hype and then 1 month after that to really drive call to actions.
All right. Looks like the community really likes that answer.
Yeah,
DJ
well,
said, thanks for the answer. JPB3 says, 100% agree that it's important to have hype phase before the launch. Finally. Thank you.
We need more hype. We need people coming to see and thinking, wow, I can make a fuckload of money playing this game. And that's it. Like, if people can see that, we've won. We just need to, and the truth, that's the truth. You can. Like, I've played for 2 years now. I've built my account from 2 corns to 650 corns and got all these shadow corns just through reinvesting, all that sort of stuff. So it's clearly there. But I think the one part we need to get better at, and this is what I'm working with the team, is how do we make people see that sooner? Because no one wants to wait 2 years to make an ROI. No one wants to wait 1 month to make an ROI.
Oh boy.
People want ROI tomorrow. Right, cool. So
Now.
how do we give them that? How do we give them that and make them see that? So again, like, it becomes so stupidly obvious that you can come into this system and walk away with some sort of positive return. And if we get that flywheel spinning, we get viral growth. Right? It's just, again, we haven't had a solid hype phase before where we can do this. We haven't had the mechanics where this can happen. And there's going to be mechanics. More details will be revealed after the 28th. So yeah. Get
All right.
pumped, friends.
Good pumped. And while we were discussing that, a distinguished anonymous gentleman wrote you a letter. The
Oh,
anonymous
a nice one or a
questions.
nasty one. Either way.
Yeah, I can almost imagine
That
this
is
being
one.
written in like in cursive with the wearing a monocle so long. Hello, Mitchell. You mentioned a clear ROI for new players. Most of the current player base can't even tell you an accurate ROI in CU at the moment. Things like average unit impulse from carts, which is the most basic form of earning, requires digging into the JSON files and computing averages for a bunch of pulls. How do you plan to promote ROI and profitability to new players, especially with the potential volatility of XI price in the future?
Yeah, so you won't need to go to that level of depth to find out. Again, more information, because this is in relation to the play to airdrop campaign. We've worked this in an interesting way not many people have done. So that is going to become evident and clear. That was one thing I said to the team when we were coming up and conceptualizing what the play to airdrop program would look like. It was, how do we ensure that the long-term player benefits, but the player coming in and playing their first play experience benefits more? Because I think if we can get that, and we get, let's say, someone through their first 7 play sessions, right? They play 7 days in a week. the chances of them converting beyond those 7 days is significantly high. And so we need to get a better, we need to do a better job at making sure that initial ROI, that short-term ROI, doesn't require a spreadsheet warrior to go into and figure out. So we're on top of it. We're working on it. We have a solution. We think you will all be pretty happy with what we have planned. So she's coming, boys. She's coming.
Always good when she's coming. Man, that was a pretty good
Second
answer.
that.
So, Mr. Distinguished Gentleman, Anonymous Person, if you would like to reply to Mr. Mitchell, please feel free to send another question. We have 2 spots left with an ending question number 3 coming in right now. With closing the LVM and then opening it for a limited time and having it marketed as a limited time mint be a good idea. Make people whitelist for spots for the first 10K lands to be sold. Then another hype phase after it sells out with a follow-up marketing about next mint of 10K for those that missed out. So like phases of a land minting, like we did for launch. What do you think about that?
I'd need to put more thought into that and have a chat with a few members of my team around how that would work for the LVM. Ultimately, we are looking at different ways where how could we onboard people into CU much easier? Because as you know, if you do want to play crypto unicorns, you need multiple assets, which means multiple purchases, right? And that means multiple transactions. How can we eliminate that and create a single transaction that can give you multiple assets? So yeah, we're currently working on that, and we have some plans. How that does involve the LVM, though, I haven't digged into that, but yeah, it's a good thought and something I will mention to the team and see if we have any plans around that.
All right, we have another question from Spacewalker 007. Can we recommend a KOL?
To me, yeah, if you want to recommend someone, go for it. But yeah, I'll just throw it out there, guys. Like, if you know anyone or recommend anyone, let me know, because I'm also looking for KOLs that, they're not just your typical shillers, right? I want people who
Mhm.
play games. I want people who aren't here just because we're having an uptrend in a market, right? I want people who are in it for the long term, and ultimately they're going to have benefits long term. But yeah, I want to be strategic with the relationships we're building. So if anyone knows anyone they think would be a good contribution, hit me up in my DMs, hook me up with an intro. We're happy to keep onboarding KOLs as long as they're aligned to Web3 gaming. They're in it for the long term. They're happy to create content. I've had people offer me $10,000 for a tweet, and I'm just like, to be honest, $10,000 for a tweet based on your current audience, I just don't know if that's worth it, right? I think there is an overinflated sense of self-value, I should say, with some of the KOLs I've dealt with. Not to say that they aren't valuable, but I don't know, I think some people just make up a crazy price and hope you'd say yes. But ultimately, I'm happy to hear everyone out. I'm happy to hear everyone's proposal, and then make up my mind from there. But I also have a job to protect our community and our project from anyone who's just looking just to sell us some sort of transactional tweet with a stupid price tag slapped on top of it. And I'm just like, oh, well, I don't think that's fairly reasonable for value. But yeah, even just, for example, with what we had with, what we do have with Crypto Banter and Hustlepedia, like I thought those guys were fairly reasonable. And, they're offering us a lot. And what was interesting, I had some KOLs who I'd never heard of before asking for the same amount for about 10 times as less. I'm just like 10 times as less value that is in terms of the service. So I'm just like, that's just, I can't see how that works. So, but yeah, it's a numbers game, right? It's like every other aspect of business and life. It's all a numbers game. Just have the
Absolutely.
conversation, do the intros, put yourself out there, and then make a decision based on the data you get. The more data, the better.
All right.
You guys are all KOLs. You're already all KOLs. You should all be shilling CU every moment you get and talking about the game and what's to come and all that sort of stuff. I will have the deck out there after this meet, so that will have all the narratives and stuff in it. Yeah, guys, like we will have a lot to gain from all this going parabolic. So ensuring we can do the best we can, both internally within this community and externally, I think should be at the top of all of our priorities.
Absolutely. And following up on that, yes, we will make sure that Mitch's deck is out in general right after this town hall. A question that we have from Goliath Rules. Will Zai still have a 7-day delay to cash out like they do now? This assuming after migration.
If you're referring to in-game, no.
I believe they're referring to like when they move it from Zai to Arbitrum, it usually takes 7 days. Do you see that changing?
I'm not sure on that one. I would need to confirm.
Okay. All right. So for anybody else who wants to ask questions, please go ahead, raise your hand, or you could also ask a question in the marketing town hall questions, which I am linking over here. Oh, we have a question from Kaiser. Is our security ready for the game if saving grow really high? We know that Axie had bots, Pixel had bots, and there will be many extractors. What would be our solutions on this if players are just looking at short-term gains?
Yeah, so funnily enough, we actually discussed this today. Um, yeah, so we're actively working on it. So the challenge is that if you if you make the game too easy to earn from, you get bots and people abusing it, right? You get even multi-accounters, and like it's just it's just how play and earn games work, right? If you make it too easy, people abuse it and are overly extractive. If you make it too hard, then you don't get growth. So how do we find a balance and a compromise with that? So we're aware of that. We're working on it. We have come up with some solutions, but here's the thing: like we're at a point in time where we have we're in the best position to get growth, right? We have everything we need to get growth. I don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot trying to be so proactive around nerfing short-term player rewards and experience that we lose attracting all those short-term players, which can turn into long-term players, right? So we're aware of it. We're working on solutions, but I guess like we got to keep in mind like a lot of these rewards, it's not our fucking token, so they can dump, but it ain't going to affect us. And if they want to dump more, guess what? You got to go buy more CU tokens. So if yeah, like that's the thing. We're kind of a little bit detached from the consequences of that, but we are also actively looking at ways where yes, we can minimize bot behavior and short-term extremely extractive behavior. Not to say that you can't extract in the short term, but yeah, again, managing multi-accounting issues and all that sort of stuff is something we're working on.
All right. Well said. While we're waiting on other questions from the community, let's see. I'm going to ask a couple of questions myself. I'm really curious. Do you have any dream CT influencer who you want to be bullish for crypto unicorns? Like if they start tweeting about crypto unicorns, you just know you've made it. You have done your job. Do you have anyone like that?
In terms of like someone lined up like that, where
Even
is that
just
what that question means?
personally, somebody that you like, John Cena.
Well,
You said
yeah. So
John
like
Cena.
the important thing is it comes down to who our audience is, right? Now, our audience for the core game is Web3 gamers, hardcore Web3 gamers. Who do they follow? Now, personally, if I went on Twitter and I saw like Elio Trades and Alex Becker shilling CU, yeah, that's when we know we're at the top, right? The problem is that they're very hard to get a KOL deal with. I've looked into it. I don't think Elio does private deals anymore, from what I've been told through this agency that had connections with him. And I know Becker still does, but he wants a lot. Like his ask is pretty damn high. So yeah, it's just I did ask them to inquire and they never got back to me. But yeah, I think if we had Elio Trades or Becker shilling CU token, yeah, we'd be all fucking partying in Lambos for sure. So
The absolute dream. We have another question from Kaiser. What are your thoughts for minting limited edition unicorns like a seasonal unicorn, but not the one out of hundreds? He's asking because Kydro had a lot of users because of the free minting. They got hyped because of that. Do you have any thoughts on this, or was there any discussion about this, like those water unicorns and dragon unicorns on Twitter?
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, there's no discussion around that happening at the moment, but we are looking at ways and methods around how we can perhaps have some sort of free to play element with crypto unicorns. This is in very early stages of discussion and needs obviously a lot more thought and discussion. But yeah, the idea that we could have limited mints of unicorns might not be ruled out. Who knows?
All right. Next up, a question from Goliath Rules. When do we see us marketing about the new dynamics and tribes with new buildings and stuff? What is the timing on that?
So you're referring to the updates coming to Tribes. So when those updates come out, depending on their time frame, will determine whereabouts they go into our future marketing plan. Obviously, I'm heavily looking at how our marketing will perform over the next 1 to 2 months, and that will heavily influence how our future marketing plans look like. The thing is, it's almost impossible to plan ahead in this space because there's just so many variables to account for. Like marketing is already hard enough, but when you're trying to account for the movement of overall financial markets and the general morale in the space, and then on top of that, an ever-changing layer of tech complexity that obviously is getting easier, but these are all variables that make predicting the future very difficult. So for me, my plan is that I do experiments, I release the experiment, I look at the data, and then from there, that data formulates my next plan. I think that's exactly how this plan came to be, right? Is that we looked at all the marketing activations we did over the last 12 months. Anything that didn't work to our expectation was dropped and scrapped. Anything that did work was amplified on. And we know some KOLs worked for us in December, right? When we had that push and we pumped RBW like 6x around that time, right? This is why we've gone 10 times harder on KOLs this time around, because we saw evidence that that avenue had some sort of success, right? So in 2 months' time, who knows where we'll be at, and who knows what our marketing messaging will be, will be at that point in time. It's but one thing I can tell you is that it needs narratives. It needs something for people to get hyped about, something we don't have but is coming, and something that makes people feel like they're going to win. If we can pull that off, then yeah, people board the hype train to Hype Central.
Hype train coming up. Choo choo. Gabe is asking, do we have any specific plans for Unicorn Party? What do you think about them?
Yes, we have specific plans for Unicorn Party coming up. Information will be revealed closer to that magic date. So yes, hardcore
Ooh,
plans coming
mysterious.
up for Unicorn Party. So yeah, I actually did meet with Surf yesterday. They ran me through with the plan. I'm just like, well, this looks sick. We're obviously doing stuff on our end to support. So yeah, the time to play Unicorn Party. Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Absolutely. And don't forget, chat, we are going to have regular Bingo and Chill types of streams for Unicorn Party soon, TM. We have a question from 69. Do we plan to have targets on how much newcomers we are aiming for in this time period, etc.? I guess he's asking about metrics.
Yeah, so you're asking about growth, number of users, all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
So I've set internal targets, but the trick is that is again, like we're doing something we've never done before. We're doing a play to airdrop campaign. We're doing engaged airdrop campaigns. We have a chain migration narrative. We're on this new blockchain. We have KOLs. So we're testing all these variables that we've never really done before individually to this level, but then all at once, right? So how do you plan for that? So yeah, sure, in my mind, in my internal deck, I was like, oh, well, I'd love to see, 2,500 daily active users, and I'd love to see, the floor price of shadow coins at 0.5 ETH. I've put all my internal goals in a document, but the thing is that there's so many variables at play. Who knows what they are going to be truly? And so, yes, I can have my goals, but I think what is important here is that I spend more time figuring out how we can solve core problems that may limit growth, right? For example, that was brought up. How do we ensure that ROI becomes more clear? Well, that's a valid question. How do we do that? I would rather spend my time doing that and focusing on these variables that do cause friction, into our onboarding, than worrying about all these predictions, because again, it's almost impossible to accurately predict at this point in time what a campaign is going to produce, especially when the combination of variables is so different to anything we've done before in the past. So we got to keep making a better product. We got to keep marketing in a better way. We got to keep pumping our token, right? So as long as we keep doing that, we get there.
Yes, sir. Okay, just a quick time check. We have 5 minutes left until the end of the hour, so we're going to start wrapping up now. I can ask a couple more questions. Something I'm really curious about is that if are there any marketing resources that you're looking for that the community can help you out with if they have any leads?
Yeah, so more KOLs, more. Yeah, like I'm open to accepting partnerships, but yeah, to me, I'm kind of going away from just these random drops to these partnerships. Like the problem with dropping
Mhm.
assets is that we've seen in the past it's very hit and miss, and overall we just don't see many people coming into our ecosystem. Now, obviously, we're doing a drop to Zai, which is quite a substantial drop, and that's exciting because if someone is already affiliated or invested in Zai, they're obviously going to be keeping a close eye on the first products going live on the platform. Uh, we're also strategically dropping to specific wallets as well, which allows us to be creative with who we can try and bring on board. So yeah, like if the partnership's right, yeah, but like even for example, the partnership with Neo Tokyo, that for me is exciting, right? Because Neo Tokyo, is one of the premier Web3 gaming communities around, right? So that makes sense. That's good. But yeah, ultimately, I'm looking for KOLs at the moment, and if a partnership provides a solution to something in the game, then I'd be interested in that as well. The whole, let's drop to our community and we'll drop to yours thing. I just, I haven't seen much evidence in the past of that being a substantial method of growth. I'd rather find different ways to utilize those assets, which is exactly what we have planned in the coming months with the Zai drop.
Absolutely. I'd love to go back to what you said about how plans get made in relation to the results of previous marketing efforts. Could you go more into that? What has the previous rounds of doing marketing for CU taught you in preparation for this round of marketing?
I would say that largely you'll learn what doesn't work and what works to varying degrees. So there's that. And like I said, KOLs did work well for us in the past. And certainly not all KOLs worked for us as well. So we're going with specific ones that at least I felt are worth us trying again, doing a second major activation with. So there's that. But yeah, like it's just, it really is a game of psychology here. That's what marketing is. It's a game of psychology. The problem is that you're trying to win people over when there's so many other influences on that psychology at the moment, right? Everyone's worried about what the market's doing. The market's been going sideways for the last few weeks, right? So how do you convince someone that now is the time and the best project to spend their money with? Um, that's something that is a challenge to do that you don't have in traditional traditional business. I ran an marketing agency for 8 years, and for me it was fairly simple. If I wanted to get a business leads, easy, I would put out an offer on a Facebook ads lead form, and then people would leave their information, the business would contact the lead, and we'd have a conversion rate. Now for me that was an easy, predictable, repeatable process. But in Web3, we're dealing with a lot more dynamics at play here, right? But this is why we're in this space. We're in this space because we believe in this tech that a lot of people don't understand yet, a lot of people don't use yet, and we have a huge amount of upside to gain, right? And that's the risk. That's what you get in when you are in Web3. But this is why the rewards are also so great, right? So yeah, for me, everything in the past is a lesson. This is not just marketing. You can choose to learn from your past, or you can choose to ignore it and keep making the same mistakes. But only one is going to really advance you ahead if you're really looking for growth in your life. And so, looking for growth in a project, we've tested all these things through a process of elimination. We tested Facebook ads, we tested running display ads on different publication websites. We tested partnership drops, we tested KOLs, right? And so now, obviously, taking that data into consideration, we're now focusing our marketing budgets on what worked out of those tests. And guess what? When this test is done in 2 weeks' time, there's no doubt going to be things that don't work, and there's going to be things that did work. So we take the things that did work and we say, cool, well, why did they work? And we then figure out how we incorporate that into our future marketing strategy. So I know that's a rambly response, but you asked a pretty intense question. So you kind of got what you asked for.
Oh, absolutely. We love the rambles. We have one last question before we wrap up. August is asking, when collab with CyberKongs? Do you see us doing that?
Yeah, look, I'd love to. I personally don't have an ongoing discussion with them at the moment, but yeah, like again, like one of the biggest issues I have is that people in this, if you don't have an intro, you have to go through like traditional methods like Discord or Twitter. No one ever reads their uh, Twitter inbox, right? You send people an email, very rarely you'll ever get a response because it's probably not making it through spam filters. So what I found worked best is Discord. Generally going through Discord, I'll create a ticket and reach out that way. But even then, that process, I've even with going through crypto banter and all that, like I think it took me like over a month to get a response and like another month to get a meeting. It's very slow. So ultimately, direct intros are best. If anyone knows someone important from any other project or even someone that can contribute in some way, do me a direct intro and I'll jump on there, jump on and meet with the person, hear them out, see if it's a fit, sell them a value as to why they would be interested in partnering with us, and go from there.
All right. I love the enthusiasm. So this is an official call. Your DMs are open if they're interested. Is that right?
Yeah, slide into my DMs.
Oh, yeah. Slide in, boys. All right. That is our final question and concludes our marketing town hall. And if you have any other questions, ask them in the thread and we will try our best to answer them later. We'll post a recording of this on our socials if you would like to give it a real listen. And don't forget to share this with your friends and fellow Unicorn fam who couldn't make it. If you have more burning questions, feel free to reach out on our support channels, the Mod Support channel and the Ask LG Team channel. This has been Sparkly Unicorn with Stealthy on Tech, hosting our marketing maven, Mitch. Keep the Zygration hype train going by listening to our Twitter space with Zy and Camelot to stay updated on the latest news in crypto unicorns. That's going to happen in around 18 hours. So stay tuned, Unicorn fam. Good morning, good night, and see you in game. Can we get an uwu?
Ooh, see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Uwu.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much for your time. Peace
Bye.
out, y'all. Bye.